Right then, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from in all parts of the world. Just a bit of a James Maddison update. I'm going to try to look at all the information around this deal in this video. All the information put out yesterday by Chris Whitley and AFC Bell, all the information we have, and then we can actually move on from this day, because there's a lot of, it's really blocking what I want to do. I want to move on to the Premier League, my predictions, I want to move on to the new season. I want to talk about the new season, but the James Maddison deal is actually blocking. So James Maddison is signing for Arsenal in the next weeks. This is all you need to know. Make sure you do smash a like on the video, people. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel as well. Legit content on a daily basis coming to you straight from me, Cossy. Obviously, we are sponsored by the wonderful and beautiful people at Yugabet. Make sure you do check out Yugabet, people. www.yugabet. If you're in Uganda, you'll be able to bet with them. They're trustworthy, and you can actually win your money, and they give it to you on your phone in your account. So bet with Yugabet so that you don't have to mention any regrets when it comes to betting online. So just a bit before I enter the James Maddison deal, in 1 hour I'm coming live. We're gonna speak more of Arsenal transfers still, and then we shall start speaking about Brentford and a couple of other stuff. But in 1 hour I'm coming live, right? I'm coming live, so I just decided to do an upload before. So before we get into it, before we get the party started, Tammy Abraham is set to join Roma in a £34 million deal. Now that means Tammy Abraham might not be the player that Arsenal will sign in as a striker in this summer. The player wants to join Arsenal, but there is no concrete evidence. There is no concrete interest from Arsenal that they will get actually that they will go for the striker. So instead of wasting a lot of time, and of course Chelsea would prefer to sell the player on a permanent basis rather than a loan plus obligation, or a loan plus an obligation to buy. So Roma could be taking Tammy Abraham. According to Sky Sports Premier League, they're saying Roma could be taking Abraham. A deal has been agreed. Abraham Tammy could actually join Roma in a £34 million deal, and that means Arsenal will be left with two options: Lautaro Martinez and Dusan Vlahovic. Right. So let's try to dive into some of all the information, not some, but all the information, because it's too much and it's actually blocking my schedule. Let us try to dive into all the information confirming that Arsenal in the next weeks could be on their way to signing James Maddison. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's get them to 300 likes right about now, and let's get the party started. Right, so to begin the party, AFC Bell, of course, is the man that actually gave us all those updates. Big up AFC Bell. We talked about him, we talked about him yesterday, and this is the first one. So let us look at this. And he said the next few weeks. The next few weeks could bring a lot, with Arsenal sources repeating, "Just judge us, just judge our work in the closed transfer window." What is certain is that the club is still working on the James Maddison deal, and the little news that appears to the public does not necessarily mean that there is no real work in this file. I'll say that again. The next few weeks could bring a lot, with Arsenal sources reporting that judge our work until at the end of the window. What is certain is that the club is still working on the James Maddison deal, and the little news that appears to the public does not necessarily mean that there is no real work in this file. So that is the first update. The big man AFC Bell did give us, saying it doesn't mean, right? It doesn't mean that the little news, the little updates coming out do not actually mean there is no work being done by Arsenal in regards to James Maddison. And it also I think it also shows the significance of doing deals underground, because whenever we hear something from James Maddison, the James Maddison deal, there is something huge, there is something significant. So AFC Bell says, do not actually get afraid. There's a lot of work being done behind the scenes. All right. So still moving on. With what the big man did put out yesterday, he said he understands that AFC Bell understands that talks between Arsenal and Martin Odegaard's camp are currently inactive. The lines of communication have been called between the two parties for a while, but that may change if the club reaches a dead end in the James Maddison deal. The indications don't indicate that the Maddison deal is currently impossible, especially after the feelings talks. All right. So at the moment, reports were saying that Odegaard is the priority, Maddison is the second option. It is not true. AFC Bell says, at the moment, our lines of communication with the Martin Odegaard camp are absolutely cold. At the moment, we are still focused on James Maddison, and it says Arsenal have started to feel that doing this deal is actually not impossible at all. All right. So let's take it back to where we came from. Okay, point 3, still from my man FC Bell, says he understands that the preparatory work for James Maddison's deal with the players camp preceded the signing of Martin Odegaard for months, and therefore he is the number one option for the club. As we mentioned in January, Odegaard may provide a viable alternative if objective one cannot be signed. And I repeat that. He understands that the preparatory work for James Maddison's deal with the players' camp preceded the signing of Martin Odegaard for months. And therefore, he is the number one option for the club. As we mentioned in January, Odegaard may provide a viable alternative if objective number one cannot be signed. So Odegaard is just a backup, right? Odegaard is just a backup as per AFC Bell. He is not our priority. He is just our backup. We failed to get James Maddison. Right, let's continue with all the information that this guy actually put up, because it was very interesting. And he also said Arsenal are making slow strides behind the scenes in the James Maddison deal, but it is important it is important and on the right track. The deal is not close to happening, and there is no guaranteed deed on it due to the absence of negotiations and official offers. But the club is expected to intensify its efforts in the remainder time of the window. And we spoke about yesterday. That yesterday, and I said it that at the moment you don't have a lot of rumors, but Arsenal feel in the remaining time of the window something could happen. Right. He also said that the feeling we got after speaking with people close to the conversation surrounding James Maddison is that Arsenal are willing to compromise with Leicester City of the James Maddison deal. The mediator's messages informing Arsenal of Leicester's intention to negotiate at of Leicester's intention to negotiate at 60 million barrier did not alienate or discourage the club, but rather the opposite. So the mediator, of course, we are doing this deal through a mediator, and that much I've told you about. I did tell you about yesterday. We are doing this deal through a mediator, and what FC Bell is saying that Arsenal have been told that Leicester City would not want to discuss if Arsenal are not actually providing any fee in excess of 60. But this has not discouraged Arsenal. Rather, they have just been encouraged. Right. So he also says that the developments that took place last night with the imminent departure of Joe Willock with a permanent transfer deal to Newcastle with an amount of about £25 million are positive in the club's effort to chase their number one goal, who's James Maddison. Theoretically, the club may use this amount of money to raise its oral proposal submitted by the mediator and crystallize it into a formal written proposal. Okay, so the Joe Willock deal directly affects the James Maddison deal. That much we know now. That much we know at the moment. And it says, in the ideal circumstances, Arsenal would like to resolve the fate of the right back before it descends with its weight in the negotiating arena with Leicester City, whether by keeping Bellerin and having enough cover in the center, or by leaving and compensating him, internally or externally with a new deal to fill the gap of his exit if he leaves. The players' camp is not in a hurry on the other side. So another thing we learned from this one is Arsenal would love to first deal with a right back and probably goalkeeper as well. So we might first look at our right back situation, and then look at the goalkeeping situation, and then go for the James Maddison deal. And that's why the deal could actually delay a little bit. All right. He also says said information reaching AFC Bells. Sources close to Hector Bellerin say that the player has not yet received an official renewal contract, and the club is still evaluating all options and listening to all those interested in the player's services. There is still a lot left for the summer window to pass, the same source added. Right, so big up AFC, but I didn't know about that, by the way. I thought the guy was on the way to sign a new contract. Okay. Information reaching the AFC Bell as well says Arsenal's appointed mediator Darren Robinson has engaged his heart-pounding talks with Leicester City counterparts about a number of combinations of an offer that would lure the Foxes to the table for official peer-to-peer negotiations with Arsenal. There is no breakthrough yet, but there are positive signs implied. Okay, that is all you need to know at the moment when it comes to James Maddison and AFC Bell and Arsenal and Leicester City. So the feeling for me is this is gonna happen in the coming weeks. I don't have any other doubt. I don't have a doubt in that. In the coming weeks, Arsenal signing James Maddison, but it's gonna be after we sign in a goalkeeper, after we sign in a right back, after we get to resolve the right back situation, either by keeping Hector Bellerin or getting in a right back. And my question for you, as you watch this video, is it okay for us to start the season against Manchester City, Chelsea, and Brentford without James Maddison, and then he signs later as we close the month? Is it okay for you? My name is Cossy. I'm coming live in an hour. Make sure you do smash a like on the video, and I'll speak to you very, very soon.